ladies and gentlemen, it is Kevin Jackwitz with the Cage Review. And Cage Nation, we are going to deal with Raw this time on the Wrestling Review, which is going to be February 5th, 2018. And just as a side note, I love the fact that I wound up picking up American Eagle blue and red shirts, because as you can see, I wear my blue one for SmackDown and my red one for Raw, just because. So, this Raw was pretty damn good overall. I thought it was really interesting that they started the show with a Bray Wyatt promo on the Elimination Chamber. Bray Wyatt hasn't really been pushed. He hasn't been significant in the scene. I do like Bray Wyatt, and he can cut a damn good promo. So, kind of an interesting opening though, because like I said, he just hasn't been utilized very much at all. He's been in this feud with Matt Hardy. And of course, Bray Wyatt has gone over Hardy every time, which is really disappointing to me because I really love Matt Hardy with his broken gimmick, now Woken in WWE. And they haven't utilized it at all. They haven't done any of the right things with Matt Hardy's gimmick. They've never seen him as a main eventer. They've never seen him as a top guy. I don't know why, but damn it, he really could be if they gave him the right push and, you know, made his promos more like they used to be in TNA, where it was dark and gritty and, you know, everything is just so bright and shiny and happy in WWE now, and that just, it ruins a lot of things. So, you know, whatever. So Bray Wyatt cuts his Elimination Chamber promo, and then Roman Reigns cuts an Elimination Chamber promo too as well. And Reigns, of course, is not as good at promo work as Bray Wyatt. Although I have to say, I have seen him in recent weeks showing a little bit more personality. And I got to give credit where credit's due. I'm not going to be a complete hater on somebody because, you know, for the sake that everybody else hates them. If I see that they're improving, then I acknowledge it. And I think that he is improving slowly but slowly on his promo work. There have been a couple of times lately where he's actually kind of caught my attention. And since these are all things that I'm catching up with, and I've seen yesterday's Raw, you know, there was a promo yesterday that he did that really kind of actually made me smile. So that says something about the fact that he's getting better. But moving on, you have the first Elimination Chamber qualifying match, which is, of course, Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns. Honestly, a pretty good match. I've always said that Roman Reigns is decent in the ring. I don't think he's ever had a match that I've been like bored through. And even though he's kind of had certain moves that have become his staples and you see them over and over and over again, I mean, that's just kind of the way it is with every WWE superstar nowadays. You know, he really did make it entertaining. Roman Reigns comes away with a clean win. And then after the match, Matt Hardy comes down and gives Bray Wyatt a twist of fate. And it's, you know, kind of the same old shtick. They'll give Matt Hardy like these moments where he'll come down and he'll do a twist of fate after a match. And okay, he's got a highlight. And then the match comes and then they bury Matt Hardy again. So I can't really be excited for that, because I'm quite sure that the next time that Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt face each other, they're going to bury Matt again, and that sucks. Is what it is. So following that, we go to a backstage bit with Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins, where Rollins is asking if Jason Jordan is ready for the match, if he's good, if he's going to be alright. Jason Jordan assures him that he's feeling great. There's no problems. So that sets up a match later between those two in the bar. Next, it's supposed to be Finn Balor with Gallows and Anderson to face Scott Dawson with his partner. And so Dawson starts talking about we're tag team specialists as the Revival comes down, and let's make this a tag match. So there's a bit of who's going to be my partner, and it's Carl Anderson and Finn Balor versus the Revival at that point. Finn Balor, of course, is going to go over. You kind of expect that. I didn't really think that the Revival were going to win this match, and of course they didn't. Finn Balor and Anderson come away with the win, and the Revival suffers another loss. Kind of at a starting point again with them, and they're just getting beat a whole lot at the beginning of this revival of the Revival, and I don't know. I don't know that I agree with how WWE is doing that. Give them some lesser tag teams and let them beat some people. It's just my thoughts on it. So then you go to a backstage bit with Sasha Banks with Bayley, and Sasha's reviewing her loss against Asuka, and Bayley has a match with Asuka, and she's asking Sasha for tips. Sasha says, I'm not going to share them. And then there's this little bit of, friendly friction between the two where Bayley says, well, I know I can beat you, so I know I can beat Asuka. After that bit, you have a match with Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali versus Tony Nese and Drew Gulak. I don't watch 205 Live. I haven't had a vested interest in it at all. Some of these guys, could be doing incredibly well. I wouldn't know. And it's mainly because I don't have the time to watch it. So I wasn't really invested in the match at all. I will say I do like Cedric Alexander's athleticism. I love seeing that in matches. I do like cruiserweight style action. I think they're some of the hardest workers in the business and get some of the least amount of credit for it. So, like I said, it's just I don't have time to watch it. I have too many other things I do. I watch Raw every week. I watch SmackDown every week. All the pay-per-views. And then with everything else, with my YouTube channel, I just don't have time. But anyway, Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali come away with a win. At the end of the day, I don't care. Then you have a backstage bit with Alexa Bliss and Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle says he's about to make an announcement regarding the Women's Elimination Chamber. And that leads into Kurt Angle going down to the ring, and he announces all the members that are going to be in the Elimination Chamber. You have, of course, Alexa Bliss, Sonya Deville, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Mandy Rose. So that's kind of a cool thing. But he also says that, conspicuous by her absence is Nia Jax, and that she has a match with Asuka at the Elimination Chamber. And if Nia Jax can pull off the win, then it will be a triple threat at WrestleMania, being Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Nia Jax. And I really hope that they don't do this. I really hope they don't do this, because I'm sorry, I do not like Nia Jax whatsoever at all, period, point blank. She is dangerous in the ring. She can't move. She's been in so many situations already where she's botched moves, risked injuring herself and other wrestlers. There was a match in particular with her and Charlotte Flair where she was just at the wrong place in almost every given point in the match and caused some really bad things to happen. Charlotte Flair was doing a moonsault from the top turnbuckle to the outside. Nia Jax was in the wrong position, caught the shin in the face, and Charlotte Flair face planted off the top rope outside. And then there was a really nasty looking backbreaker where she just dropped Charlotte on her head. I am not a fan of Nia Jax whatsoever. I don't care who she's family with, she's not good. She's not a good worker on a mic. She's not good in the ring. I I understand that it takes a lot to get in here and do this stuff, but not everybody can be a WWE star. And in my humble opinion, as a fan, watching how many people she's already put at risk, I'm not a fan. I don't think she needs to be there. That's my opinion. So I really don't want to see her go over against Asuka for sure, and not only go over against Asuka, but be in the triple threat in WrestleMania. That to me would be a bunch of hot garbage. I don't like her, and I think she's dangerous. And when you have somebody the caliber of Asuka, you don't want to put her at risk in the hands of some, 300-pound woman who can't move. I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. So, that second announcement brings out Alexa Bliss, and she's complaining to Kurt Angle about how it's fair that she has to defend her title at the Elimination Chamber and Brock Lesnar doesn't. Is he sexist? Yada, yada, yada. Is this a woman thing? And he's like, well, Brock Lesnar has defended his title much more than you have lately, so you're defending your belt. From there, you go into Asuka versus Bayley. Another really good match. I thought that Sasha Banks versus Asuka last week was really good. Even though they had a couple of dangerous spots, it was really good. This week, it was just as good. Asuka is showing that she can put on a really good performance at any given point with pretty much anybody. And Bayley has always been a really good, really solid performer in the ring. So, yeah, it turned out to be a great match. And Asuka comes away with the clean win again. Still undefeated, which is good. Miz comes out, does an in-ring promo about the Elimination Chamber, about going to WrestleMania, yada, yada, yada. So that turns into Miz versus Apollo Crews, and I believe this was an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, which is cool because I said last week I like how each of the matches had stakes in last Raw's episode, and it seems they're really continuing on, building that storyline, building up all these matches that lead to the Elimination Chamber that's going to lead directly to WrestleMania. Very, very good the way they're doing that. I really do appreciate that. So, Miz comes away with the win over Apollo Crews. He is now in the Elimination Chamber. Then you have another segment backstage with Jason Jordan, Seth Rollins, Kurt Angle, where they're all talking, and Jason Jordan suddenly wasn't feeling right, and they had the doctors look at him. He can't compete. Okay, we get that. So, they're like, well, Seth Rollins, you're going to have to forfeit. He's like, well, what if I can find another partner? In walks Roman Reigns, and now it's going to be Rollins and Reigns versus The Bar. Reigns already had a match with Bray Wyatt today, so, push Roman Reigns no matter what the fans think, right? So that leads into Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus The Bar. A lot of, big muscle guy shots in this match. Decent for what it was. Not entirely spectacular. At the end, Jason Jordan comes in. He runs interference. And he was talking a bunch of mess to Cesaro outside the ring. Cesaro takes a swing. Jason Jordan hits him. Disqualifies Reigns and Rollins. So now there's a bunch of heat from Reigns and Rollins on Jason Jordan. And that leads into a backstage segment where after commercial they come back. Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins are in this heated argument. Kurt Angle's there. And Seth is like, you're lucky you're injured, otherwise I'd probably injure you, something to that extent. And walks away, and then Kurt Angle just starts yelling at him and tells him to go home. So Jason Jordan takes off. Then you have Nia Jax does a promo. She's not good at promos, so it was pretty forgettable. And then she has a squash match versus a nobody, trying to build up the fact that she's a beast. She's strong, she's uncoordinated, she's dangerous. End of story. I've already said enough about that. That brings us to Sonya Deville versus Mickie James. Pretty good match. Sonya Deville is really hard hitting. Like, you can tell she gets in there and she's ready to do some damage. Mickie James has always been a good wrestler though, so it was a pretty good match. Mickie James comes away with the win though, which I thought was cool because Mickie James, since she's been back, I mean, I know she's, they're mainly building up younger talent, but I would like to see her come away with more wins. She's good and she's deserving. So after the match, Absolution jumps Mickie James and outrushes Alexa Bliss to pull Mickie James out of the ring. And then of course Mickie James is like, what the hell? And there's this really awkward look between the two. And it looks like, Alexa Bliss is trying to get some friends when dealing with Absolution. And then that brings us to the main event of the evening, which is Elias versus John Cena versus Braun Strowman. This is an Elimination Chamber match that has good stakes in it because whoever wins the match gets to go number 6 in the Elimination Chamber. And it's what you would expect with all these guys, hard hitting. At the end, Braun Strowman hits John Cena with a power slam. Elias pushes Braun Strowman through the ropes and gets the quick pin on John Cena. I really like that they gave this to Elias because, he's younger talent. He has a lot of potential that hasn't been tapped into yet, I think. And so it gives him a chance to kind of A, main event, but B, maybe get some notoriety now. So that's pretty cool. And that's where they left off with Elias winning, and now he gets the last spot in the Elimination Chamber. Pretty good matches overall. And I think that, honestly, this would probably be another 6 or 7, well, probably a 6 out of 10. I'd go with 6. Just because they did have some empty spots there, and the whole Nia Jax thing twice on the show, I could have just thrown that whole thing out. Pretty cool though. I like how they're building up the Elimination Chamber. I really do. I think it's really smart that they're taking, a couple of weeks to build up every match in the Elimination Chamber. I think that's the right way to do things. So, knowing that that's going to lead right into WrestleMania, I think they've got, a streamlined story now that they can really move with. And that's something that I do feel has been missing from WWE a lot in the last few years. Not just, recently. I think it's been a few years since they've had any really good storylines. So I'm very happy to see that. I'm happy to see that they're, building up a pay-per-view properly for once. I'm happy to see that they're giving newer, younger talent the spots now. Because honestly, they haven't been doing that in the last several years. They've been sticking with the same old repetitive shit that nobody has really cared about. So hopefully this is them getting a clue and learning to do something different. That is my take on it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think in the comments. My name is Kevin Jackwitz with the Cage Review. Cage Nation out.